credit card companies are scamming this shit out of us, and I kind of just found this out about a month and a half ago, and so I thought I would share this information with you. So, most of us who have credit cards, myself included, we like the idea of our perks, our little, our rewards that we get by using the credit card, by going through a particular company. You get like 1.5% back, 2% back. That's super cool, man. Yeah, awesome. That's what kind of enticed me to get credit cards. Pretty cool, right? But where does the money come from? That is the question. Like, how are they able to afford giving me, if you pay on time, how are they able to afford giving you that money? Now, obviously, some of that comes from late fees that people, don't pay on time. But a very large portion of that money comes from what I'm about to talk about here. So, let's say you're getting 2% back on your credit card. Really cool. Really awesome. Well, there's an act right now going through Congress that would eliminate the credit card companies of MasterCard and Visa, which are the two like monopolies. They are huge. They issue the most amount of credit cards through different companies. So they might, you might slap on a Capital One label or a Fifth Third label or a U.S. Bank label, Bank of America label. They might slap those onto their cards, but it's their cards that are getting used, right? And they, as the two biggest companies, get to basically, they put out the machines that companies use when they take your card. So, you have that little like kiosk thing you plug your card into, and it's like, hey, okay, sign here or click enter here, or some of them are just press against and it'll read your card automatically and you've paid, and very fast transaction. So those machines, a lot of the times, only Visa and MasterCard can work on them. So these little tiny credit card companies that are wanting to get started, they don't really have an in for the most part. They're kind of ostracized from being able to get their name out there. And why are the big credit card companies doing this? That's the question. And this is what kind of blew my mind right here. So those credit card companies, for the merchant, so the person selling you the goods, right? So you go in and you want to buy a thing of milk. When you go to buy that milk, the credit card companies say, okay, whatever that milk costs, as a merchant, you have to give us between 1.5% to 3.5% of the sale price. So, you sell it for $3, then you're going to give anywhere between 4.5 cents to quick math, I'm bad at this. 13.5 cents to us, okay? Pretty crazy. And so what does the merchant do? Well, the merchant says, excuse me, we had to milk the cows, we had to put it in this container for you, we had to ship it from God knows where to get it into our store, and our margin is razor thin. We're not going to make a ton of money off of this when all is said and done. So what does a merchant do? They say, I'm not going to let that credit card fee eat into my profit. So I'm just going to make that product that much more expensive. So in a theoretical world, if these credit card companies didn't have these monopolies, all your consumer goods would decrease by anywhere between 1.5% to 3.5%. Now, I know this is taking into account, well, would the stores actually change that, with inflation and all this stuff? I know, but in theory, that is how it would work. Because all the stores are having to upcharge you 1.5 to 3.5%, so that they don't have their profits completely destroyed by these credit card companies. So I thought that was really interesting. We're always like, oh, okay, 1.5% back, that's cool, or 2% back, or airline miles, this is really neat. And once again, I'm not judging you guys. I have the cards. I mean, I do the same stuff. But there is an interesting stat I want to throw out real fast. So apparently, according to, where was it at? Yeah, lendingtree.com, only 70% of credit card holders actually use their rewards. So we use credit cards, to get these rewards, and then we don't use them. 70% of us don't. Now, maybe you're part of the 30%. Good for you. I am. I mean, they've got to be out there. There's 30% of them. But yeah, I thought that was interesting that 70% of credit card holders aren't even using their rewards. But it's weird to think that the credit card companies, if they didn't have such a monopoly, there would be more of a free market, so that you could, if you were a merchant, say, okay, this small credit card company, I will let them work on this machine, and they will charge me, 0.0025% of my net profit, or gross profit. So once you sell the milk, maybe I'm giving them 2 cents, but it's much better than 13 cents. So there would be much more of a free market element, which could drive down prices pretty significantly. And that's why this act is going through Congress. And the reason I found out about this act is because I saw a commercial. It was really funny that kind of made me think about this and do a little bit more research. But the commercial was by a big credit card company saying, don't, call your Congress members, don't let this act go through because it will take away your credit card rewards, which pay for important things like groceries. And then I looked into it, and in reality, if you didn't have the credit card rewards, and if you didn't have to have that crazy charge on the front side, all those things you buy at the grocery store or at whatever store you're getting a consumer good, they would drop by anywhere between 1.5 to 3.5%. So I thought that was really interesting. It just, the numbers, it's one of those things where the ad that I saw was just very misleading. Information was withheld that is incredibly important to the argument being made. And one of the reasons that I think this act is actually going through is because the Fed is looking at all the crazy stuff price-wise with inflation, the cost of living going up, these things, and they're saying, okay, we need to figure out a way to make groceries and just regular goods that people consume on an everyday basis, we need to find a way to make those go down. One of the ways we make those go down is by allowing merchants to lower their prices a bit because they won't have to account for that decent chunk that they have to give to the credit card company just for being able to use their machines. So I know it was a very nerdy Reuben rant section and probably one of my more intellectual ones. But I thought it was really interesting to look at because we're kind of getting scammed a little bit. We're getting told one thing, but in reality, that thing is causing our groceries and our alcohol and our cigs, everything to go up in price. So, anyways, worth thinking about. I thought it was interesting. I don't know exactly how I feel on the act going through, whether I would like it passed or not. But I thought it was really interesting. This is getting brought to the public's view, and we're kind of getting to see a little bit more of how this whole system works. So, anyways, that's all I have to say. Hope you enjoyed the Reuben rant section, even though it was rather academic. Thanks.